Strangers. A stranger showed me what would happen if I embraced my feelings instead of pushing them aside. I am the daughter of a tree guy who died on the job. By this time, I have sat down and insured over 100 tree guys. While I've never had a chainsaw in my hand, the daughter of a tree guy counts as part of the crew. For my street cred, just because I haven't worked a chainsaw does not mean I haven't done a lot of groundwork, chipper work, and operated both the bucket truck and the Prentice loader. These guys know where my heart is without me needing to prove it. Tree guys are rough, like to mess around, and don't beat around the bush. They all use humor to cope and like to fuck with people for sport. They will, and do, avoid salespeople by completely fucking with them because it's fun. They are avoidant because they must believe they will not die tomorrow. As the daughter of a tree guy who died on the job, they won't fuck with me. They won't reschedule on me, and they will sit at kitchen tables with me. It is the very essence of tree work that gets these men to this table with me. They know every day could be their last. They've all had incredibly close calls at work. I'm at a formica and metal kitchen table in a rural village with Mr. Client. Mrs. Client is putzing around the house, and I cannot get her to sit down. She is clear that Mr. will be making all the decisions anyway, and she's fine with whatever. This guy used to do tree work, then switched to a job only mildly easier on his body for the second half of his career. They are both newly retired. He's the kind of guy that I do this job for. He started out all tough. He intended to tell off this evil salesperson, me, from his driveway. Then, because I'm me, he invited me in. Then he realized I was a real person, so he told me I could have a seat. Only a mild grunge to his tone as he offered me coffee. While talking, I got his good laugh to come out. Step 1, be seen as a real person. Step 2, get the good laugh. My favorite. We spent an hour going over things. I have been very clear on why I do this job and the impact I feel I'm having. I am mediocre at this point, being vulnerable in the story about my dad. I know that I want to be better, more truthful, and more vulnerable with my story, but I'm tentative. I'm spotty. I'm trying. Which of your children will be standing with their credit card in the funeral home? It's his daughter who would be paying for both of them. If she doesn't have a piece of shit minivan, she will after they die. That's why I'm here. As I'm wrapping up, he leans back in his chair, crosses his arms against his chest, and stares at me seriously. As I close my laptop, I'm thinking, oh my, what is he going to say now? Even though he's gotten real with me, he's still the rough guy who fully intended on telling me off in his driveway. He has a depth that takes a minute to see past his hard exterior. They all do. That is part of the absolute magic here for me. He takes a breath, still holding strong eye contact with me, and says, "When I die, I'm going to find your dad. I'm going to tell him just how amazing of a woman you are. I'm going to let him know you're all right. You're more than all right. That you are exactly the woman he hoped you'd be." It is a wall of water. I am a wall of water. Every part of my body is overcome and tingling. My eyes started pouring out tears before I could mentally grasp what was happening. Then I saw he had tears streaming down his face too. I am not sure he truly understood the weight of the words from his own mouth until he spoke them. So here we are, both of us, Tough tree guys, sitting here, trying not to cry, and just crying. I'm saying thank you, which isn't covering the feels. He's saying he knows, because there's nothing really else to say right now. Then Mrs. Client walks back into the kitchen. The scene is incredible. Her newly retired husband is sitting at this formica and metal kitchen table crying with this 30-year-old life insurance agent. Mrs. lets out a nervous laugh and asks her husband how he made the life insurance agent cry. It was the most remarkable thing anyone ever said to me on that job. After that, I did have quite a few guys who said they'd grab a few beers and track down my dad when they get up there. But none quite so lean back in your chair and be real. None that made me burst into tears from every cell of my body. The connections I made with complete strangers in under an hour were astonishing. The more I shifted the finely tuned machine of a story I'd made as a defense mechanism into greater alignment with my vulnerable personal truth, the more I connected with people, the more I was seen clearly, the more I could hear people's truth within the stories they'd built around their loved ones. When I was blessed enough to receive the sentiment from someone they'd go find my dad when they died, I took a really long moment to just feel that energy, to really feel my dad, to deeply feel that I was making connections here on earth that were being realized on a larger plane of existence. It became a personal guidepost for me, a symbol of meaning. Personal extension is growth.